Welcome everybody. Tonight's session is about creating audio with sound effects, and it comes as number 3 in 4 sessions, which can be looked at independently, but it is helpful. All learning is good, and it can build on the other sessions. So in the first session we covered using Audacity, which is a freely available audio editing program. There is links and notes that I can pass out to anyone who's come tonight that doesn't already have Audacity or isn't sure about how to use it. We can get it onto your equipment. The second session we did was, as part of that first session was around, yes, we've got all this fancy equipment, which I will explain, but ultimately the most important thing in recording, particularly people, is our voices, and we want to make sure that we look after them. So in our first session we covered breathing. That's important for not just talking but living. Also looking after your vocal cords, making sure that you do a warm-up. Tongue twisters from primary school can be helpful, and a very popular radio one is red leather, yellow leather, which we might all do together shortly. We looked at microphones because past ourselves there is the microphones and the actual equipment that we use. And we looked at the environment, and so that kind of leads into what we're going to do tonight, because tonight is about how to get the best out of sound effects to enhance our recordings. And if we just record naturally, sadly our microphones don't have the filter that we have in our brains. So when you're out and you can hear things that you think you hear clearly, our brains are actually filtering out hundreds of pieces of information, and so the microphone picks up all of it. So when we're wanting to create some amazing audio piece that would maybe a poem or a short story or something like that, if we just record naturally what we think is the environment, it actually will end up a terrible, terrible result. So we need to play with it a little bit, which is where Audacity comes in, which is where the second session was recording with your mobile phone, so how to easily get sound effects from different places and then upload them to a computer and play with them and then put them into a recording to make something amazing. Now there might be lots of different reasons, as I mentioned already, poems and stories. There might be family history. How amazing to record things like, for example, here's a few questions that you might want to consider either interviewing someone about or your own self-recording to be able to capture something for your family history. Things like, how did your parents pick your name? Kind of interesting. Did you ever get into trouble at school as a child? What was the strangest thing you wanted to be when you grew up? What was a book that really made a difference for you in your life? What's one of the best photographs you've ever taken? What's one of the bravest things you've ever done? Sometimes I think brave and stupid are a very, very fine line between the two, but I'm sure it would make a great story and a really good thing to record. What are your favourite animals that can work well with kids? Tell me about a volunteer role that you've had. So volunteering, that's the things that we do, that we choose to do, not that we have to do. And so always when people can talk about their passion, it makes for a really good story. And so thinking about that for yourselves or for others. A song that brings back good memories. Often a question that we'll ask people is, what was a hit song the year you left high school? When you're 16 or 17, what was it that will, as soon as you hear it, it will take you straight back there. I've been at a party when we did that, and there was people aged 13 who haven't even left school yet, so they had to just pick the top one for that year, but also people who were in their 80s. And to hear, just watching people, which I know we can't do in audio, but watching the light that came in their eyes and the way they were able to talk about when I first heard this song. It's really amazing. So you can capture history beautifully for people. So you get the idea. So there's some questions there, and it's the sound effects that will really enhance when the listening experience later on. And so using we also want to do things legally. Let me put that out there. So there's two things that we need to consider. One, in terms of putting sound effects to stories, we can only do it to stories that we've got permission to do that for. So we do RPH reading here with the radio, but the license for us to do that is if we don't change in any way or the content. So it's got to be the same as a print access. So, you know, if you're reading a story about war, when we open the book, you don't suddenly get, you know, bombs going off in your head. You have to imagine that. But for an audio experience, it would be fantastic to be able to have that. So as long as we've got permission, so the two places, one, get permission from the author, or write it yourself, and then you can give yourself permission, or go to public domain. So we can look up royalty-free content, and then you can have a great time making beautiful productions. So they're the two things. And same with sound effects. So there are websites we can go to, YouTube even, that has royalty-free, so we can get some sounds from there, but also recording your own. And we did a session with our mobile phones where I suggested get some sound effects from different things. And my hope is, after this session and from the previous one, that you change how you listen to things. So you start to listen for, like, oh, I could use that sound somewhere, and quickly be able to whip out your phone, use the app that we've recommended, and capture the sound, and then it's there to be uploaded and used whenever you have some amazing story that you want to be able to tell and capture it. So hopefully, is there any questions so far? Okay, thought I should at least ask that. So here we have an amazing array of equipment, all of which, well, except for this, that's mine, although I'm very welcome to share. I know you said, oh, sorry, I'll stay sitting down. This equipment is available for the community to borrow. So with sound effects, to give them a quick rundown, if you've got an iPhone that's later than a Model 8, you're going to need one of those little white taggy things to go in there. But this is a microphone, so you can easily record talking or sound effects. This one is a lavalier or a lapel mic. Whoops, don't do that to it. That was the bad example there. Good, yeah. Horrible warning. So you use, it just goes straight into easily the bottom end of your phone or an iPad into the speaker microphone section, and then you would clip it onto someone and then talk away. And then again, you would want to be careful of your environment. Make sure, like I've got a scarf on, you don't want that, that's bad. Sometimes long earrings for ladies can be distracting. Clink, 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 clink. That is hard to edit out, but worth it. But much easier if you just remove the earrings in the first place. Same with bracelets that can also make noise. Watches if someone's quite, flamboyant. The other thing is, in winter, quite popular is the jackets that get people to take them off, or take them off yourself. Just all these little things can make a really big difference in the quality of the recording at the end. I know they seem small, but when you have to spend hours making the recording sound the way you actually dreamed of it in your head, we're like, oh, if only I'd just taken a minute beforehand to make sure that the sound was going to be what I wanted. So there is a dead cat along with the portable recorder. That's a bit fancy, but it will do a great recording. The reason for the dead cat is it stops that wind noise when you're outside. So our ears naturally filter out, that will help stop that, and you'll capture actually you're more likely to capture the sounds that you do want. I was out canoeing one day and heard these amazing birds and thought, oh, that's going to be fantastic. So I get out my phone, record, and by the time I got it uploaded into Audacity later, you could just hear wind, or the leaves. There was hardly any, and I'm like, but I was right there, I could hear it so clearly. It doesn't work. So really having something filtery or like the little some sock helps. There's little mics here that also will go into, that's a XLR plug. So at the bottom end of that will be one of those. So if you wanted to have something like that. There is also, this one is a Blue Yeti mic. So if you were going to record like in a more of a studio setting or your home office. So with your home office, you would want to make sure you have as much soft furnishings around as possible. So curtains or the old blanket fort cubby is helpful. It sounds weird, but it works really well for good recordings. Hanging on a door, if you're recording near a door, hang a blanket or a towel behind there. If you've got hard floors, if you can get a rug or just throw blankets down under you, anything that will soften the surfaces around where you're recording will again make it really helpful. Listening, so getting some microphones. You're welcome to use the microphones here, and there's these here for today. I think that is the most helpful that I can talk about for right now. There's also iPads that are available they are iPads or tablets to use if you haven't got your own smart device or you don't want to use that. They're available from Community Arts again, so we want to thank them very much for bringing all these assets to our community. We're going to be the most well-sound archived community, hopefully. So that will be great. So tonight, I've given a brief overview of what we've kind of covered up until now in the sessions. Also that these sessions are part of a bigger project called the Digital Creation Hub project. So there's 5 different creative people who are amazing at what they do, and I'd highly recommend, if you've got the opportunity, get online and see their sessions, or if you've got the chance, go and see the workshops face to face, because they will cover different aspects of creating digitally artwork, and all together it will you'll be able to make something amazing. So this is just part of a bigger picture, so hopefully you'll keep hold of that. So to that end, tonight what we wanted to do is be able to use sound effects to create something great.